Welcome to Bleachers and Speakers. I'm your host, June.
That's when Foster Child. Foster Child, man. I'm still bobbing to the beat. I ain't got
you see this, right? You never seen the line here. So you know
they go with the hat.
You never seen, I mean, I'm wearing it after a loss. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We're gonna talk about that later, though. But welcome to Bleachers and Speakers. We're going to go over the game 2 preseason, and want you to know, if you can't watch the show, right? We do have it on audio available, and you can look up Bleachers and Speakers on any audio platform out there, as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, things of that nature. Just type in Bleachers and Speakers, and you can listen to us. If you don't like what you see, or if you want to go out, you want to drive to work, cleaning up, and you want to listen to a Detroit Lions podcast, you can check us out another way. So, but we appreciate the people that are watching. We appreciate the people that are listening in whatever capacity. Right, Foss?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, we're going to talk about this last preseason game that happened Saturday versus who we played?
Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jags, right? So a lot of people, the game went down, and the Lions lost 25-7. However, this is preseason, right?
Absolutely.
Stay on the wagon. Don't look. I was supposed to do a rant later on, right? But I got a rant now, right?
Go ahead, get it off.
Why are you tripping over a preseason game? The second preseason game, especially when every single offensive lineman was second string or worse.
No golf.
This wasn't even the reason why I talk about the offensive line and not being the starters is because you had Bridgewater, who's been here 9 days, get behind a second string offensive line, and people are saying, get Bridgewater out of here. Bro, he hasn't had time to unpack yet. Like, the average person probably wouldn't have been able to play to get in there, but Teddy, being the professional he is and learning the offense as fast as he can, and if the playbook was probably reduced significantly because he's only been there 9 days.
Yeah, plus they showing the vanilla looks in preseason anyways, even regardless.
The first handoff, he didn't have a chance. It was like, it looked like the offensive line said, "There you go."
Ole.
Yeah, they like, come on, man. We preseason, I get it. I understand the passion. I like the passion, but it's not to be read too deep into, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not enough to say same old Lions, or not enough to say we knew this team wasn't good, or we knew this team wasn't ready. Relax. Okay?
Yes,
relax.
Yes.
It's one preseason game. I'm pretty sure they'll look better than this. Now, we are going to talk about the game, though.
Yeah,
we are going to talk about the game. And it wasn't pretty by any means.
No.
So it was bad. It was a bad game. It was a bad game. They didn't look good.
Games are often ugly in one way, shape, or form. Win or loss, they're usually ugly in some shape or form, just because you're playing with a lot of guys that are not going to be around. So they're not pretty in general. But this one kind of took the cake. I ain't gonna lie.
And then you have to factor in, you're also playing against a team you practice with against all week.
Right.
And they probably so, you probably know what Teddy's gonna do. You know what I'm saying? But boss, I want to say this though,
Mm-hmm.
Nate. I'm starting to see a pattern with Nate Sudfeld. I'm not panicking. I'm not panicking. I'm just saying
No need, really.
it's just it seems as if he makes a big mistake a lot.
Yeah, he makes it count. When he messes it up, he makes it count. It ain't no he go all the way with it.
Yeah, it is not just the I overthrew a receiver. It's he overthrew a receiver and hit a cornerback in the numbers.
In the
That kind of
chest.
mistake. Yeah.
Where
He
the balls they don't even catch him. The ball catch him is so on
yeah.
him.
He catch a cornerback in stride. Like, come on, bro. Like, but I don't like I said, I don't want to put a lot of stock in it, but we're here to talk about the game. We're here to talk about what we saw. And like I said, the defense didn't look too bad. There were a couple of people that stood out. I actually think once the defense is set, it just feels different, right? When you're watching these preseason games, if you're watching the Detroit Lions defense, it doesn't look like a defense that's unsure of themselves. Like you can see the energy, you can see the effort, and I don't want to get into the defensive player of the game yet because me and Foster have and we haven't discussed it with each other either. We're just going to tell you who we thought was our defense and the offensive player of this game too. Um, a lot of people are panicking because we only have 3 preseason games, right? But this is what we wanted. We didn't want 4 preseason games.
No,
Foster, you thinking we need 4 preseason games to get ready for the season?
I'd rather have that extra regular season game. The more preseason games, the more likelihood that someone gets injured in a meaningless game. Preseason
And
games
usually
have no merit on the playoffs, and so no, three is perfectly. Oh, our starters aren't going to play in any of them, so it doesn't matter.
the 4th game, nobody's playing that you really care about. Like,
Yeah,
who's getting practice? The coaches. Come on, bro. The coaches should need practice. Coaches should be coaching. Coaches is a nonstop thing all year round. They're going to coach all year. They're going to watch film. They're going to talk football all year round. So the 4th preseason game is basically a game for the coaches for game type situations. Because your 4th preseason game is usually the people who won't make the cut. And if you think about it, if your starters need to be in the 4th season game, you're screwed.
Yeah, something's up. Something going on.
Yeah, so
Even Mahomes has played though. It's kind of crazy, as
it,
unnecessary as that is. They even let Mahomes play, so it's interesting.
that's wild though, because what happens if he gets hurt?
It's over. Hey, that first game 1 is lit though. It's lit for the Lions. If God forbid,
Please
just miss game 1. Just miss game 1. You ain't got to miss the whole year.
No, just just little slight hammy, something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Tweet.
I don't want you to get Dion toe or nothing, but it's something that's gonna cause you to miss a week. You know what I'm saying? Just a week. You'll be back in game 2. Just missed that Thursday night game. So Foster, what did you see from what is your take from the game?
Okay, so I got a few things.
Uh-oh.
And I'm gonna avoid the players that are are offensive defensive player of the game. Kaminsky, I'm excited to see how the season is gonna go. He is continuing to show why we re-signed him, why we love him, why he loves being here, because he was emphatic about coming back.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing his thing. He had a sack last game. Jack Campbell, he's continued to show why he is ready to play. I did see one particular play where the running back beat him to the edge, and I ain't gonna lie, he burnt him bad. That running back, I don't know that running back, probably not even the starter, but he looked like Earl Campbell against Niners.
Brigsby was Brigsby, and I don't know. I didn't know who he was when he got around that corner. It's a good thing it was a D back there in the sideline, because he would still be running right now.
He got up out of there. Who else? Gilmore had an interception off of, it was a Tracy Walker, which is great to see Tracy Walker, but it was off a Tracy Walker tip where it hit Tracy Walker in both his hands, and he kind of gave it to Gilmore, it seemed like. So that was a joint effort. You love to see it. Gilmore's making a campaign to be a part of this team.
He got burnt once though.
Yeah, he did. They got him together. We ain't gonna dwell on it, but he
No. I'm just saying.
Aquara kind of came back to Julian kind of came back to life. I think he did have a sack, and then I think they called one back maybe, but he's back on that bubble because I think that he's pretty much limited to that pass rush, as opposed to being able to dually be able to stop the run as well. And with our edge room being so deep, it's gonna make it it's gonna make it difficult. They're talking about trading him, trying to get some value, because the Giants obviously played him and he torched them. So he like, hey, what y'all want for Julian? We'll take him. Like, so but yeah, so because I guess Romeo has a spot, or that's what the assumption is that after he took that pay cut, that kind of left a spot open for him. The running game, I don't know what to make of it. I would love.
You can't have a running game with that offensive line. I'm gonna get
for sure, but I just, with us having a brand new top 2 room, it leaves me wondering. I mean, we have a great offensive line, starting offensive line, anyways, not the backup offensive line.
Please stress that.
But I want to see Montgomery run the ball. We've seen Gibbs run the ball with the limited ability to create a hole from the backup, but I do kind of want to see what Montgomery can do. And Ibrahim, he got cut. He got hurt, right?
He was hurt in the first game.
Right. Yeah.
He was walking gingerly in that first preseason game.
So our depth at the running back position is, I don't know. We got Ozigbo, and we got a couple of different guys.
Who's the guy that retired abruptly?
That was Jackson, right? Was his name Jackson? We still got Reynolds, right?
Huh?
We still got Reynolds, Craig Reynolds, right?
I think it was Justin Jackson.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I hope I'm not messing this up. I'm not good with that.
His name is Jackson, and Justin sounds correct. But either way, one of them, yes, we had a guy abruptly, and I think he was pretty much the penciled in running back number 3. So whatever.
Yeah.
One more thing, Starling Thomas. I didn't realize that he returned kicks too. He's showing some of that depth. I mean, once again, he had another, from my opinion, I think he had another good active game playing defensive back. But I saw him run back run some kicks back. I think he had like a 30-yard run or something like that. But that's the one thing about Campbell. Campbell wants guys that are dually able to not only, especially if you're not a starter, you're coming off the bench. He wants somebody that can contribute on special teams and can contribute in other ways outside of what your primary role is, because that's what makes you more valuable on the team. So that's pretty much what my takeaways were, outside of the people that I deemed to be player of the game on their respective sides. So that narrows it down if you were paying attention during the game.
Well, you didn't talk much about the offense, but with them only scoring 7 points.
The only person that did something on offense.
And I don't think you can touch on the offensive play because the reason why he's not going to, and I'm going to tell you, I hate to spoil it. The reason why he's not talking about the offense because there wasn't much offense, and there's an offensive player at the game that we're going to talk about. There was only pretty much one person that we could talk about as far as
much to say about him, for real. You know,
it's not much to say, but again, it's preseason. We don't want people to put too much stock into a preseason game. However, we want the team to look better. We want them to do good. However, let's be realistic. Let's be realistic. To start Teddy after 9 days and expect him to go out there and look like he's competing, he shouldn't look better than Sudfield. He should not. There's no way Sudfield should get outplayed by Teddy Bridgewater.
Well, outside of the fact that we did bring him in to be better than him, but yeah, out the gate, yeah.
Yeah, and, but here's the thing, right? And we can't sit up here and be oblivious to something can happen, but Goff took every snap last year. Every single one. So you have to be ready for a backup, but at the same time, you're depending upon him not getting hurt early. So you can acclimate somebody like Teddy Bridgewater to get better because all he needs is reps and some time. I'm pretty sure 2-3 weeks into the season, he'll be a formidable backup.
Did you see the news though?
Talk to me. What happened?
You may have seen it, but there have been talks that they are hoping to activate Hendon Hooker this at some point this year. I think he's on a list to where you missed the first 4 games regardless, but they are looking to activate him, which I don't know. He's still the number 3 quarterback, but I think it means that he'll be able to suit up and practice in some form. I feel like they don't practice much.
How does that work? Is he on the PUP?
I think he's on the PUP list right now, yeah, because he's definitely not going to – he's definitely – even if he was 100% healthy, he wouldn't touch the field within the first 4 games anyways. So, right. But yeah, I think I want to say he's on the PUP list, but you know how there was talks that we may not see him at all this year, and
they said the same thing about J-Mo too, though.
Yeah, but I think we thought that we might eventually see him, which we did.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
We thought he was.
I didn't think so. I said, didn't he get hurt later on in the year than Hooker did, or was it around the same time?
J-Mo got hurt in the bowl game.
So Hendon Hooker got hurt earlier than he did. We didn't expect J-Mo
makes sense.
To be ready for the regular season, and here he was mid-season playing.
Right.
So who knows, man? Who knows as far as that injury? But it would be great if he could be prepared physically for the regular season at some point this year. That would be pretty dope. So, yeah. So we got to pay some bills, man. And I ain't even got this thing queued up, but give us a second. You got to be ad ready. You know what I'm saying? We don't want y'all to sit there and look crazy while we, So shout out to Hank Nation for that transition. Shout out to myself for the music. Yeah.
Oh, that's your beat?
Yeah, I cook up a little something every now and then, a little something. You know what I'm saying? So how you want to do this? You want to talk about the players of the game, or you want to talk about the feature player this week? What we doing?
Because we still on the we still on the game, so we can get to the player of the game.
Okay, well, let's start offense, and there's not much to say. And you have the floor, Foster.
So the offensive player I have for the game is Chad Cota. I think he was the last offensive player of the
Yes, he
game, right?
was. Yes, he was.
Yes. So he had yet another touchdown. There wasn't much action on the offensive side, but he is making a heavy campaign to at least make the practice squad. I would be shocked if he didn't. It's kind of scary because so the practice squad, you got to clear waivers, right?
I believe so.
You almost
Don't
gotta
quote
just
me.
make you almost gotta just make him a part of the team because if not, somebody might say, oh, I like that guy. I seen him, I heard about him. I was watching Bleachers to Speakers, and they said he was the offensive player of the game 2 weeks running. We might have to, holler at him. So yeah, but I'd be real shocked if he didn't make the team in some capacity. I also saw him on, I think he was doing punt returns.
He did a
And
good, yeah. He had
we
a good
talked
punt
about
return.
we talked about how Dan Campbell and being versatile and being able to do a number of different different roles, and I think he had a 30-yard punt return as well. So, and I
Yes, he
also
did.
found out that he is Brady Breeze's cousin, who's a safety on the Lions. So that's fun, but but yeah, Coda has been labeled as our what was the receiver? Oh, Tom Kennedy. He's been
Yeah.
labeled as this year's Tom Kennedy, except a much taller, version of him. And
6'4".
I feel like I think he's starting to develop to be a fan favorite. I mean, Kennedy was as well, but I don't think he had 2 touchdowns in 2 preseason games. So I'm thoroughly
Mhm.
impressed with him. He's a tall guy, and he's like you said in the first game, he looked comfortable out there. He didn't look like
He was
no
real comfortable out there.
undrafted free agent. He looked like somebody that's been sitting on that's been on that playbook and making stuff happen. I mean, these are touchdowns from Nate Sudfeld. So that's an accomplishment in itself.
Yeah. Yeah, for
But yeah,
sure.
that's pretty much what I had to say about Chad Cota,
Don't do
man.
Nate like that, bro.
Hey, that's Nate. That's Nate Doggy Dog. But
There's not much to talk about as far as the offense. Like, without a doubt, he had the most production on the field Saturday. So he stood out with the punt return and the touchdown. So not punt return for a touchdown. He had a good
no,
return. He had a good return where he got around the edge and got to midfield. So it was a
he
pretty
doing
good
too
punt
much. If
return.
he had a punt return, he doing too much, man. Come on, man. You trying to take
Yeah.
people's jobs out here? Like, come on, now, relax,
Hey man, I wish he could play offensive line. We have some
man.
depth because that second string. I didn't recognize a name on that sheet when they said the starters on the offensive line. And I was like, okay, this ought to be interesting. And it was. Um, Defensive player of the game. Who you got, Foss?
I got James Houston. He was
Mhm.
one of the people that I wanted to see step up. In the first game, it was Julian. It was the Acquire brothers. It was Campbell. It was Branch. Very fine and dandy. But James Houston was somebody going into the year that we were like, okay, he only played 7 games and had 8 sacks. We're expecting him to make another, to come into this year and to make that same impact over a 17 game period. So
Right.
first game, so. Second game, got a sack, tackle for loss.
Mhm.
He was out there getting busy. He was showing us what he's out there in his old college number. I think is why he changed it from whatever it was to 41. That's his old
Yep.
college number. So yeah, he I feel like he solidified, because they were saying that like he's kind of on the limbo. Like if Julian comes out here and gets another 3 sacks, He's gonna be on the limbo of making the squad again because James Houston didn't even make the main roster out the gate last year. That's where he started the year on the practice squad.
Mm-hmm.
So
wound up with 8 sacks.
Yes, in few games, but see, the whole league is on demand is on watch now. You're not sneaking up on anybody. Everybody knows who James Houston is. So it was imperative that he showed something in these next few games, because otherwise he was going to possibly end up on the practice squad. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that wasn't even a possibility. But with all the edges we got Charles Harris, who hasn't played a snap in the preseason game, so you got to think his spot is secure. Of course, Hutchinson, and then the Acquire brothers, and then I feel like there's somebody else on the edge that I'm missing. I don't know. Acquire brothers, Hutch.
And you were worried about the Pistons not drafting the edge. Shame on you, boss.
You said the Lions?
Yeah.
You said Pistons, fool.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm like, what?
you were just.
Oh yeah.
You were
was
disappointed.
I was a little bit just
because drafted, and I was too.
Yeah, just because the Acquire brothers hadn't done anything. Well, they both had very mediocre years last year. Charles Harris had a down year. It was looking a little thin out there.
I mean, it part of it was who was available around that time. You know what I mean? Like defensive line wise, there were so many options you could have had at that 6th pick, and to trade down. But I understand now. Defensive line is a strength here.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. The Detroit Lions have
Kaminsky's on the edge too. How could I?
He's considered the edge.
Yeah, I actually thought he was on the inside. I think he does. I think he can do both. And then Pascal, we have Pascal as well. So
the defensive line
we are stacked
pretty deep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get it. And the coaches know, and the GM know more about what they need to draft than I do. I'm going to always be critical of it because of the past. I was there when Ebron was drafted. I was there when, and no knock to Ebron, but there was other positions of need and other skill sets we could have drafted. And you see how well that worked. Just wasn't a good fit here.
Yeah.
Because he went to the Colts after he left here and got down that year.
Got busy. I knew it though. I knew he was gonna do something like that.
He left the Lions and got busy. And I said, it's just a lot of times it's timing, man. It's like, it's not about who you pick. It's just like when they're ready to play, you know what I'm saying? And I have a rule. You don't draft a tight end in the first round.
Every once in a while, you get a Tony Gonzalez, you get a Graham, you get a Antonio Gates.
Unless you get one of those caliber type people, or you get that
you don't know until you know,
6'4", 4.5 speed tight end, you know what I'm saying, that can block. You know, those are generational tight ends though. The Antonio Gates.
There's some dog tight ends out there. You just can't mess it up.
Let me ask you this.
Mess it up, it's over with.
Was Antonio Gates drafted in the first round?
I think so. He had, as good as he was, man. Maybe not though. He played basketball too. He was a
beast. He was and he's from here. He's from Michigan.
Is he from Saginaw? Detroit. Detroit.
I don't know where he's from, but I know
he might be from Linwood Central.
He was getting busy on the basketball court.
Yeah, he was supposed to go to state.
But those are there's always an exception to the rule, and unless you come across a phenomenal athlete, which Antonio Gates was, 6'6", could run, athletic.
Wait, undrafted? He wasn't undrafted.
Hey man, My rule is starting to look good.
No.
You don't draft a tight end in the first round, baby.
Your rule
That's
is
what
too good because undrafted.
look for Graham. Look for Graham. What round was he drafted in?
Tight end.
Come on now.
Jimmy Graham. He's out of Miami.
Jimmy Graham.
Right?
Yeah, Miami had a
third round.
They had a assembly line of tight ends coming out of Miami.
Yeah, remember Jeremy Shockey?
Shockey.
Kellen Winslow Jr. Was he a junior, Kellen?
Man. Yeah.
Third round. That's crazy. Let's see what Kelsey
telling
went.
you, man. My rule, bro. My rule.
I just assume these guys went. They're so good. I just assume they went in the first round. Kelsey went in the third too, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. You do not draft a tight end in the first round.
Bro, they all go in the third.
And I know within the last 10 years, the Lions have done it twice.
Yeah, that's wild. And they both kind of flop. I mean, Hockenson didn't really flop. But
Hockenson was serviceable. He was a good. He did what he was supposed to do while he was here. It was just, he was after Ebron, and you figure after Ebron you wouldn't do it again, and you did it again. Luckily, we got Sam Laporta in the second round, and that supports my rule.
Right. Now, barely.
Foster, you got a feature player of the week we're gonna talk about?
Yes. Our feature player of the week this week is Kirby Joseph. We're gonna do something different than what we've done previously because up until now we've chosen all rookies, correct? Laporta, Branch, and
correct.
And Campbell, right?
Yeah, and I can't find his picture, Foster. This is
that's
crazy.
Okay. That's all right.
Keep talking. Go ahead and do your thing, man.
But yeah, so we're doing something different. We're doing it from the perspective of somebody that has already played for a full year, so we can kind of break down his previous year, and then we'll get into the college stuff a little bit. So Kirby Joseph had an amazing rookie year last year. He played in all 17 games, which is huge in itself because durability in game of football is the biggest thing. So he played in all 17 games, and he had a seamless replacement to Tracy Walker. Tracy Walker was injured early on in the year, and Kirby Joseph was thrown into he was thrown into action from the very beginning. I don't think that when the Lions drafted him in the third round, they were expecting him to come in and make such an impact, but he was kind of forced into that role with the injury to Tracy Walker.
And I didn't like the pick.
Go ahead. And you didn't like the pick? Okay.
I'm being honest.
Okay. And it was crazy. And what's crazy is that I was looking at a scouting report and he was projected to go in the 5th. So for whatever reason, he was not, 5th round projection is not that crazy. Certainly not from the production that we got out of him from day one. So
yeah.
Yes. But once again, Brad Holmes, he goes and gets his guys. He don't care when it's projected and when they feel like it, when they feel he should be drafted, he gonna go get his guys. So he recorded 4 interceptions last year, 3 of which against Aaron Rodgers. He has been coined as Aaron Rodgers' father because he sunned him last year.
He's 5 seasons too late, though. He should have. Go ahead.
Right.
Aaron has already did his damage against us.
I'm sure Aaron is glad to be out of the NFC North and not having to deal with Kirby Joseph. But
yeah.
But yeah, he had 4 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. I think he had at least 1 fumble recovery, and he had 8 pass deflections. One of which was a pass deflection on, once again, Aaron Rodgers, where he was full extension on the pass deflect. YouTube that was a beautiful play. It took every bit of what he had to get that deflection. But Kirby Joseph, had a great year. He's a ball hawk. He plays that center field role. He's kind of that last line of defense on the deep pass plays, and he made a lot of plays last year. The 2 fumble forces he had were plays where pretty much it was plays where the receiver caught the ball and he put his helmet right on the ball and was able to knock the ball ajar. And that's pretty much what he did all year. He was out there making plays. He has a good nose for the ball, and I cannot wait to see him paired up with Tracy Walker, Brian Branch, CJ Gardner-Johnson. It's gonna be poetry in motion watching those dudes fly all over the place and make plays. And like I said, Kirby Joseph was not necessarily supposed to be getting this much playing time early on, but he showed that he was equipped for the position, and he was one of our main, as far as the secondary is concerned. Our secondary was pretty bad last year. He was one of the few bright spots, along with Jerry Jacobs, in making our defense so good in the second half of the year. So, when asked about how he's going to be able to live up to the major expectations that he has going into this year, being that he didn't have many expectations last year, I got a quote for y'all. I did my research and I got a quote for y'all. He said, "I like to trust my eyes, trust my abilities. I use sight, and I also use hearing. I can hear receivers running around me, and I'll be able to feel them, their presence. Really, all I do is just trust my instincts, and I trust my ability to make plays." And when you are out there on an island like that, if you are the least bit uncertain of yourself, it's going to show in your reaction time, because once you go from the college to the NFL, you don't have time to second guess yourself, because everybody, the speed of the game is just so much of a difference from college to the pros. So he's letting you know he trusts, he has those instincts, and he trusts them, and he acts on them, and that's what makes him so effective. So I'm excited for him to have another breakout year, and now he's surrounded by such more talent. I didn't even talk about Sutton, and then eventually Mosley on the other end, guys that are going to be more equipped to shoulder some of the coverage without him hanging back in center field, just waiting to pounce on something. So Kirby Joseph out of Illinois. Kirby Joseph out of Illinois. I'm not even going to get into the college stuff. I think I elaborated enough on what he did in college. But yeah, he was first team all Associated Press in the Big Ten in his junior year. And that was his second junior year, because the first one was a COVID year. So they give him an extra year of eligibility. So he left after his second junior year. And now he making some noise on the Lions. That was a lot. My bad, y'all.
Gotta get that man a Lions roar, man. And you know what's crazy, Foss? Yeah. I had a debate with a friend of mine about Kirby Joseph, because he says Kirby Joseph wouldn't play much this year. And I said, what? Yes. Here's his argument, right?
Let's hear this.
And I had to explain to him my side, but he said basically CJ Gardner was your safety with Brian Branch or Tracy Walker.
And Kirby Joseph gets knocked down? Really?
I had to explain it. This is not the traditional old school NFL. Nobody's running the rock like that, where you would have two safeties,
fullback and a running back out there.
Yeah. You're going to have three. You're going to have a nickel package out there most of the time, and that's where CJ Gardner is going to do his work. He's going to probably be in the nickel more than anything.
60% of the time last year, he ran nickel.
So he's probably going to be slated in the nickel. And then you're going to have Tracy Walker and Kirby, and you're going to mix in a little bit of Brian Branch. There's going to be packages for different groups, but Kirby will be in the mix. If you notice, has he played all preseason?
Nah. They
Is
holding
he
on.
hurt?
They holding on. Nah, I just think that
So
they don't want
that
to.
should
Yeah.
tell you right there, he's not in need of reps. He's ready
Nah,
to go. So they're saying with that, if you're not hurt and you're not playing in the preseason and you played a lot last year, they're pretty much preserving you, saying, "Hey, this guy's good to go," unless you need the work. So
right.
I have no worries about Kirby contributing and doing well in this year. He proved to me at the end of the year he was a good pickup and would be a starting safety for years to come. So that about wraps it up. We can talk real quick about next week's opponent, and that's the Carolina Panthers. And I wish that this was a regular season game because of that 29-7 loss last year.
Oh yeah, right. Exactly. We need some. Yeah, that's one of the revenge games. So
I wish it was game one. Oh my goodness. I wish it was game one. And this game is there, right? We don't play.
yeah, this is in Carolina.
This is in Carolina. The game is Friday night. And Frost, you going to watch the game? Is there a need to
Definitely gonna.
watch the game?
I
If you
mean,
wasn't doing this
yeah.
podcast, would you invest your time in watching the game?
At least the beginning. I'm not gonna act like I would watch the whole game, but yeah, I would check it out just to see because I think there is some question of whether or not the starters will get some playing time in this one. I don't think that many are going to play, but
No.
um,
That same offensive line is going to be out there. You're not going to see Gibbs. You're not going to see Montgomery. You're not going to see Goff.
right.
You're not going to, what I'm saying? You might not see Jack Campbell.
I hope not. Honestly, there's no need for what.
Does he need to show you anything else?
I think he's done everything he needs to do for me.
He's
Get
done
him ready. Get him
everything.
ready for Pat Mahomes, man.
Yeah.
That is on the horizon, my boy.
Oh, we need more. We need as much as much time to get ready for that game as possible, man. That's
That's
gonna be.
exciting, man. We here.
Where are you watching that Thursday night game, Foss? Are you going out? Do you go to the bars or do you go to?
I don't really go out. I don't really go out for sporting events. I don't think that's the ideal. I mean, it's cool because you're in the mix of all the other Lions fans and we all woo, but nah, usually I'd be at the crib, man.
To be honest, I don't. I'd rather be at home. I don't mind going to a game, but I'm very excited about October 30th. The Lions play the Raiders on Monday Night Football. I've never been to a Monday Night Football game, and I've never seen the Raiders play in person. And I grew up a Raiders fan. So, shout out to the wife. She got tickets. I'm going. It's going to be a crazy Monday night. By then, we'll know what we got on the field.
Oh, yeah. We will have decided if it's time to pack it up. Nah.
So,
nah.
what's I guess another topic for another day is what happens if you don't win 10 games. We can talk about that next show.
Yeah, let's talk about that next show because that's a loaded question.
That's a loaded question, and we're going to talk about that next week. Like, what happens? Because the expectations is out there. There's an expectation from the fans' point of view that I haven't seen in a long time. It's an aura of Super Bowl, playoffs, division win, and you have to win at least 10 to 11 games to do that, in my opinion. So we'll talk about that next week. What happens if you don't? Sounds good, Foss?
Sounds good to me. I'm getting my answer ready right now. The wheels are turning.
So what until then, I want y'all to subscribe to Motor City Metrics. I want you to check us out on Spotify, Bleachers and Speakers. I want you to check us out on iPodcast, whatever the podcast platform on Google, we are there. So from an audio standpoint. So if, like I said, if you're in the gym, if you're riding to work, cleaning the house, don't want to watch anything but listen. This podcast is very episode that you're watching or hearing now can be heard on those platforms. So subscribe to Motor City Metrics. Check us out on the audio. And Foster, you have anything before we get out of here?
Nah, man, just keep checking us out, man. If you're messing with the show, definitely share it. Subscribe.
Hit the
Tell
like
a friend.
button.
Hit the like button and comment. Tell us that we don't know what we talking about. We know somebody feels that way.
Man,
Sometimes I come on here.
Tell me I said Pistons when I should have said Lions, man. You can say that in the comments, man.
Tell him he said Malcolm Martinez instead of Rodriguez.
Hey, man, why you bringing up old stuff, man? See, this is why I don't like people, man.